You're listening to Tom's Engaging HR podcast, where we're amplifying, humanizing, and engaging leaders who are making work better for employees every day. Thanks for joining us for a fun and engaging conversation. Let's go.
Welcome back to Tom's Engaging HR. Took a little bit of an unexpected break. We'll talk about that here with Sims, but I'm super excited to have one of my first repeat guests. Sims Tillirson is joining me. You may know him from his musical skits on LinkedIn, from selling benefits all across the country, or know him as the Adam Schefter of employee benefits. He's done a lot. He's always moving. He's always shaking. So I'm excited to get him back on the show and reconnect and just see what he's up to. And we'll talk some benefits. So Sims, awesome. Welcome back to my podcast, but welcome to Tom's Engaging HR for the first time.
Glad to be here, bro. Thank you for having me again.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. I feel like you embody kind of what I'm trying to do in podcast form, which is just be a real human being, actually make a difference in employees' lives, but not just be like super stiff and mechanical about it. You know, we're not out here curing cancer. So that's why I came back. You're my first repeat.
Love it, man. Well, I love what you're doing with the show, and if people can see us right now, we're both wearing hats and t-shirts, and I love that.
Yeah, it's kind of the signature. I gotta have a flat brim when I record.
It's good for you to get in the right headspace.
1,000%. You know, it's everyone talks about like retention and work, and I feel like one of the first chips to fall was uniforms and allowing your tattoos to show. And I love that. I think that just kind of opened up the whole bring your whole person to work kind of thing.
Dude, I do too. And like over the past 4 years, I've gotten more tattoos than I've ever gotten in any other period of my life. Probably because of that. Because people really are starting to care a lot more just about my results than anything else. And that's the way it should be.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I'm at ADP now, and I'm dressing like a professional for the first time in like 10 years. And I actually love it, but they don't really care. They just want you to like look good. So I still get to wear my Nikes, and I kind of like it.
I like being able to bring the flavor because like when I go do speaking engagements or go to conferences, like I don't dress like a bum even though I want to. But even, throwing on a suit jacket and a button down, but being able to throw my J's on
Yep.
and have, my finger tattoos showing, it's a nice feeling because I feel like I've got a little bit of my personality added to the professionalism.
When I feel like it also challenges me that like if I'm going to be my full me, I'm going to roll in some sneakers or not always totally on whatever brand is expected. I got to bring it because it's you see all the celebrities with the tattoos and all the fancy stuff and doing all this wild stuff. It doesn't matter because they get on the court or they get on the field and own it. And I feel like it's the same thing for business. Like if I'm going to roll into an office with Jordans, I better be a really good sales dude. I can't get in and be like, here's some features you should buy from me. Like, right?
Dude, that's so true. So dressing like yourself only works if you're an A player.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you can't wear the Bahamas shirt and then just like feature sell or miss appointments and just stink. So I like it. I mean, I think it actually does help productivity. Like at least for me, it's that extra challenge. Can I deserve to do this? Can I still gain this? Can
To
I still
rock the
gain what I
J's.
do no matter what I'm wearing?
Would Michael Jordan
Yeah.
payroll processing like this?
I mean, Michael Jordan would. The Michael Jordan?
Yeah, the Michael
You
Jordan.
bet your buddy would. He'd probably run circles around me. I'm pretty
And
good.
there's your answer.
I got another Jordan question since we're on this immediate tangent. So I got my first pair of Nikes. They were Nike Delta Force 3/4 height, aubergine purple, elephant print Jordans when I lived in the Lower East Side of New York City, like 2003, something like that.
Yeah.
So I've been rocking this forever, and I love it. But also, like, I see like a lot of these just like suburban moms in my neighborhood rocking like ones, and I see all these like established older business dudes like rocking nicer shoes than me. They're got like $2,000 Jordans on, and I'm like, I like it, but I feel like this thing I've been into is getting a little diluted. It's gotten a little wide. I don't know. I don't want to hate. Like, I don't know. Do you think that way, or do you just give love to anybody wearing Jordans, whether it's
I try to give love to anybody wearing J's. Like I stop people,
yeah.
and I'm like, dude, those Travis Scotts you got on, sick. Even though I know they're 5Gs, and I'm not gonna wear $5,000 shoes. But I've definitely noticed what you're talking about, man. I'll be in coffee shops, and to your point, like suburban mom wearing like triple white Air Max 90s.
Yeah, and you're like, whoa.
It's like, where did you find this drip, lady?
I don't like. Part of me is like, well, I'm not trying to rock the same style. Like, I have no problem with like the suburban half mile. Like they're some of my best friends, but like stylistically, that's not usually what I'm like stepping into.
Yeah.
But yeah, I always end up with like a little conflict, and then go, you know what? Those are sick shoes. I got respect for them.
Yeah. And it's probably a good thing, man.
Yeah, I think so.
People are starting to gravitate to the sneakers.
Yeah, it's nice that everything kind of elevated and they're pretty comfy. All right, listen, we might have some non-sneaker heads listening. They're like, dude, talk about something of substance.
I thought this was a benefits.
I mean, it's human. All right, before we get too deep into a couple other things, how's the family? How are the kids?
Dude, they're great. So my oldest Jack is 2.5. He's hell on wheels 100% of the time.
I believe that.
Like my best friend. And his little brother George is just over 7 months now and is just like the easiest baby. And my wife Brienne, who's another benefits person, is still crushing it, keeping us all sane.
Yeah, that's awesome. I feel like that's how it happens. Everyone has one that's gonna like burn your house down, and the other one that's gonna give you a big hug while you're watching it go down.
Yeah, I feel like I couldn't do it with 2 Jacks.
Yeah, my oldest is a boy, Hudson, who's 9, easiest dude on the planet. My daughter, who's 5, she's so sweet, she's so awesome, but like I'm straight up scared of this girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't have 2 sailors. Like absolute death of me.
Definitely wouldn't be able to have time for a podcast.
Yeah, totally. I'm actually in a guest bedroom now because my son is home for summer and he's making a lot of noise doing whatever he's doing out there. So
whatever those 9-year-old boys do, man.
Everything. Do you know what mewing is?
I do not.
All right, look it up on YouTube, but it's some like thing they do. It's some pose. It's insane. Like it's ridiculous. Like
I'm not up with
just wait till your boys get older. You'll be up with it, man. Like it's ridiculous.
I will
what
be.
Kids are doing now.
I deleted TikTok and I just like don't know what's going on anymore.
I started TikTok because I got to market this thing I'm doing here. So, and honestly, I got more hits on TikTok than anywhere else. It's wild.
I believe it. TikTok's so cool. I do not have the self-control to have TikTok on my phone.
I got rid of my Instagram other than like I only have work social media now because I have no self-control, and it's actually kind of working for me right now. Like I only follow recruiters, benefits, and HR people on TikTok. So that's all it is. It's great.
What a wild thing to say.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right. That is pretty wild. And I didn't know I thought there'd be a couple HR people out there. I mean, they're doing skits and they have roles, and there's people with like entire like brands. Like, I mean, it's like HR people love TikTok. It's nuts.
I may have to get on TikTok again.
Yeah, it's it's totally free for you. You can do whatever you want, and it's still business. And I've hung on to Twitter. There's still a great HR community there, but I just saw in the news that like they're gonna have porn on Twitter now. So I'm like,
cool. Very cool.
Okay, like that might be the kind of final straw. I'm not judging. I'm just saying like for a platform where I'm trying to like professionally do stuff, like I'm not trying to have
probably not the best.
Not trying to have that stuff leaking in to my thread, but we'll see. All right, final piece here. Ryan May, thank you for the intro. We had her on. She's freaking awesome. I didn't even know that. I had to stop and ask her. I was like, how do I know you? She's like, Sims. And I was like, oh, awesome. So I wanted to tell you thanks. She's great intro. It's a great episode.
For sure, man. Ryan May's great people. Love her.
Yeah, and she's doing cool stuff. Her company's doing cool stuff. I just love her enthusiasm for just diving in and figuring things out. And that's kind of what it's all about. Like you've had a couple different roles. You've gone from straight up startup to a light who's big. Now you're back, what I believe to be a startup. Like
Yeah,
you just got to kind of figure stuff out.
you do.
And she's doing
It's
it.
fun, though.
She's doing it. So let's talk about you.
Let's talk about me.
Yeah, let's talk about you. Blue Raven actuarial. Oh man, I can't even say it. Help me out, man.
I can barely say it, man. I'm the only non-actuary on staff, and I failed all my college math classes. So the first 3 weeks we're learning how to say actuarial.
Actuarial. Is that better?
You're like so close.
I'm right there.
I feel like you got it.
So, what is like? Tell me about the company, and tell me what just an actuarial is.
Yeah, so actuaries are people that are way, way smarter than me, that are really good at math, go through a ton of certification and testing to really be experts in financials and forecasting. And our actuaries are all from the benefits industry. So Blue Raven was founded about 2 years ago by the former chief actuary of USI, Nick Allen. And
cool.
We have kind of two sides to the business. So the first is traditional actuarial consulting. So the major player in that realm is Milliman. So they're the people you call at $500, $1,000 an hour to run incurred but not reported claims reports for you, to do self-funding feasibility studies, whatever it might be. So we do a lot of that work. And then the other side of our business is all software. So we build and deploy custom software tools for brokers to automate things like plan experience reporting, plan change modeling, payroll deduction modeling, underwriting and forecasting, self-funded feasibility, all kinds of good stuff. So very cool company.
Yeah.
And we've been really lucky in these first 3 months that I've been here to get just an incredible amount of traction in the brokerage community.
Yeah, I know at ADP, I work with a bunch of different folks at USI, and I know they're really focused on having deliverables around data. And is that kind of where he came out of that culture and said, I can do it a different way. I want to build it a different way? Or is there no connectivity? He just went, I want to do my own thing and I know how to do this.
Yeah, I think there's connectivity for sure. He led the whole actuarial practice and built a ton of great stuff that USI still uses today. I think that he was just ready to operate where he was the guy making the decisions of how to go forward. And, I'm really glad he did, because plan experience reporting, for instance, hasn't changed in about 30 years. And I frequently talk to really big companies who aren't getting plan experience reporting. Is crazy to me. So Nick moving to do his own thing is going to be a fantastic thing for the industry while I'm here and long after I'm gone.
So that takes me into kind of our first proper rabbit hole for an HR podcast here. What is plan benefits reporting? Like, let's start at the base. I feel like so many people are like, is this plan cheaper than the one I had last year? Cool. Let's do that. And that's kind of where it stops for a lot of people, I think.
So plan experience reporting in its simplest form is just tracking your claims versus your expected expenses. So super useful for self-funded employers, but also fully insured groups receive reporting kind of like this. If you run it through an independent system, you can see, where should I be?
Right.
From an expected expenses perspective, because self-insured groups don't tend to have the profit margin and taxes baked in that a fully insured group does.
So let's this way benefits is like so easy for podcasting, because like everything goes into something else. Like there's always there's always another question in benefits. Fully insured, self-insured. What does that mean? Let's set the table, define each of them, and then maybe we can go into pros and cons, but let's just start with the definition.
Yeah, the fully insured experience is what most businesses and most people are familiar with. So this is, you have insurance through Blue Cross or United Healthcare or Aetna, And you have a little card that you put in your wallet, that's your ID card that you use. So essentially, you pay for a network that carrier owns. You pay for a program that they've built with set premiums, set deductibles, set benefit amounts, and they take on all the risk. They also build in an incredible amount of profit margin that they take from you. And self-insuring is just taking on some of that risk yourself and giving yourself flexibility and customization options. So if you're fully insured with Blue Cross, you're going to use their TPA, their PBM, all of the components that they want you to use. And if you're self-insured,
What's a PBM?
a PBM is a pharmacy benefit manager. So those are the people that make money on prescription drugs.
Got it. Thank you. Keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you're self-insured, you can choose the components of your plan yourself, right?
Yeah.
You take on more risk, but you also get to reap the reward if your expected claims are $2 million and you only experience $1.5 million, you keep that $500,000 as a surplus. And under a fully insured agreement, that stays with the carrier, and maybe they give you a flat renewal, but they probably increase your rates 2 or 3%.
Probably increasing something somewhere.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's kind of the difference of doing like stocks versus mutual funds, or like how much exposure do you want? You can probably make more money quicker on stocks, but you can also, it's harder to forecast. Whereas you get into a mutual fund, you're going to make less risk and it's forecastable. So is that the big differentiator, like your tolerance for forecasting?
Your tolerance for risk.
Yeah. So when you're talking fully insured and you're talking about benefits reporting, you can actually really look at trends, really predict your risk a lot better, and also set yourself up for the future.
I think you can also do it really easily on the self-insured side. But it's all about having a partner that can do that for you. So most large brokerages have actuaries on staff that can forecast regardless of your funding mechanism. There are great companies like Blue Raven, Milliman, Inovu, Springbuck. Like, there are just tons of them, of these data management platforms and actuarial consultants. But today, man, with the Consolidated Appropriations Act passing and a lot of people starting to get sued, it's incumbent upon employers to know how their plans are running.
Right.
And no one is going to come save them. A lot of times it's the broker's responsibility to help them, but the person that's going to get sued at the end of the day if they don't is an employer.
Wow. So for people listening, how can they manage that best? Does it depend on, is it data driven? Is it relationship with your broker? Is it just compliance awareness? Like what do listeners do to make sure to avoid that?
All three of those things play into it, but I think data is the most crucial point. So carriers have held data hostage for forever, and they continue to do that. But having your data and then being able to, through your broker, through a partner like Blue Raven, through the Excel wizard that's on your data team, whatever, if you're able to get that data into a format that's digestible, which I think is a big if, that's when you can begin to actually do plan experience reporting the right way and track your costs over time, which is a fiduciary responsibility.
Right. So you always hear about fiduciary responsibility and investments and whatnot. And essentially, it just means doing what's best for the client, regardless of your own profit, all those pieces. You've been around a while. Is that a problem in benefits? Is it pretty isolated, or is there a lot of firms out there that are like, well, no one's really pushing us, so we're going to keep doing this thing that's in our favor?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that a lack of awareness and therefore a lack of fiduciary responsibility runs rampant through our business. And it's mostly a function of misaligned incentives, man. I mean, if a broker can make more money keeping you fully insured with the same carrier year over year and taking commissions instead of being a transparent fee-based broker, why would they stop that? Other than because it's in the best interest of the client to do it. But if they're feeding their family that way and know they're going to take a haircut to do something else, why would they do that?
I mean, in a capitalist society, in a business is built to make money. Like, where is the line of talking fiduciary, it's almost like, all right, well, we should make nothing and cut everything to like help these companies. Like, how does the brokerage companies manage this?
What I'm the people that I'm seeing kind of take fiduciary responsibility in the CAA head on, they're moving toward per employee per month or fee-based relationships rather than taking commission from carriers. And then to sweeten the pot, a lot of these brokers will take a bonus on the percentage of savings they get you. So their incentives.
So you're really aligning at that point.
Yeah.
All right, I got another. Tell us about that. Was the CA or CPA? What was that new law, rule, regulation? What is it, and what do you have to be aware of?
So I'm definitely not an expert on the CAA.
CAA, thank you.
I would tell you if you have questions about the CAA, my friend Patrick Moore, who is with Next Impact LLC, knows more about it than anyone that I've ever talked to. So reach out to him if you need it. But essentially, the part of the CAA that I'm focused on is an act passed a few years ago. And it was the precursor for this fiduciary responsibility conversation that all of us are having. And a few of the things that are incumbent upon employers to do is to be very thoughtful and planful in their vendor selection. So running RFPs for pharmacy benefit managers to make sure they're doing what is in the best interest of their employees, tracking their plan costs over time so that they can figure out if somebody is screwing them over. And then there's some of this prescription drug reporting that also came out of this. You may have heard it called RxDC. So I butchered the CAA, but the fact of the matter is the federal government is getting involved in what we do in the benefit space now.
Yep.
And my view is that this push for transparency and fiduciary responsibility is going to make us all much better. It's going to make care better and cheaper for employees, but it's going to be very painful for all of us on the way.
That sounds like progress. That's how progress goes, right?
It definitely is progress.
This has been great. I've been just kind of shooting from the hip here, so hopefully I haven't thrown too many fastballs at you. It sounds like we're staying on level one here.
I think we're good, man. You know, my mom always tells me my eyes are brown because I'm full of shit. So I can answer any question you give me.
We're in the right trades, aren't we? All right, we're going to take a quick break. I got a bunch of other questions that have popped into my head from this initial conversation. We're going to just keep getting into the weeds on this benefits. And I just love how freeform this is because benefits is so wide. I could do the entire podcast on benefits forever. So quick break. We'll be right back. All right, Sims, you ready for the HR hot sauce?
Let's do it.
Second time, new questions for you. Broad question. What most engages you?
I guess people, man.
People man's a great answer. What's your favorite piece of technology you use at work?
My iPad, for sure.
What's your favorite interview question to ask or be asked?
My favorite interview question to ask is, would you rather have a cat with human hands or a dog with a human face?
Probably go dog. It's scarier, but a cat can cause more problems.
Yeah, think if they had 4 human-sized hands.
Yeah, cats are already knocking crap off the counters. So. Speaking of cats, favorite workday lunch?
Favorite workday lunch is probably a poke bowl.
Oh man, right up my alley. What's your most unique or useless skill?
My most useless skill is that I can jump rope really well, but I can only do it backwards.
That is a first time on that one. Awesome. What makes your day at work?
Just having good, thoughtful conversations with people. Like, I do a ton of prospecting, just like I'm sure you do. And so sitting and having a really good, thoughtful conversation with somebody, even if it's just one, always makes my day.
100%. Mild, medium, hot, or nuclear?
Hot.
And you're going to get a bonus 8th question no one's ever gotten before. Favorite edition of Nikes?
That's tough, dude. Mean to ask me, but I'm going to go with the OG Air Jordan 1s. Too hard not to.
Low or high?
High.
See, mine is ones low. All right, you did it,
I've
man.
got the ankles for it, but I don't know. I've never picked it up. I don't know why.
I just like how the pants fall over it when I'm doing work stuff. All right, we digress. Let's get back to the show. We'll talk about benefits. All right, we're back. Pretty good hot sauce. A little different than last time, Sims?
A little different, especially making me choose my favorite pair of Nikes is not the coolest thing you've ever done.
I know. I felt kind of bad about that. The only reason I don't feel bad is because if I flip the tables, I would tell you right now I'm like big time into old school Air Max. But yeah, like I like that. If you ask me in 6 months, I'll be like, yeah, it's a Jordan 3 again. Like, yeah. So like I'm not boxing you into a hole. Next time we talk, feel free to give a different
I'll
answer.
change it. I'll be
You
like,
should.
it's my UGG slippers, bro. Like,
All right. I mean, that might be a bit far. Well, just don't say Crocs. We're getting back into my 9-year-old's territory with the Crocs. Like every kid in his class, they like wear Crocs to go running,
bro,
hiking.
I love
Like it's like I'm like it's not a cross trainer, dude. Like it's a slip-in. He's like,
Not
shut
yet.
up, Dad. You loser.
not yet until they start marketing it as the new cross training shoe.
Yeah, it's wild. I still don't have a pair. I feel like it's coming because I knew as soon as I go there, that I'm gonna be like my kid and I'm not gonna wear a shoe.
Dude,
ever.
they're so comfortable. I used to wear them all the time. Had a pair of classic because I used to do a lot more hunting and fishing than I do now. But mossy oak, camouflage Crocs, and my wife fed them to our dog one day when I wasn't home.
Oh man, it's come on, Brianna.
Tough.
Brianna.
Brienne.
As soon as I said it, I felt like I was wrong. All right, back to benefits. We're talking about fiduciary responsibility. We're talking about fully insured, self-insured. I think we got a good base. What was going through my head was, all right, so brokerages. You have a responsibility to take care of and do what's in the best interest for the clients you're serving. They're kind of stuck between carriers and then the clients. What does a good broker do for you in that space? Working with carriers and then working with clients.
I think when you have to work with a carrier, and you don't have to work with a carrier when you're self-insured. You can build your plan from the ground up.
Wow.
With no carrier involved at all. But I think reducing the noise and the pain of working with a carrier is one of the marks of a good brokerage team.
Yeah.
Because inevitably, man, even when you're fully insured, there are going to be issues with people not getting their ID cards in time.
Mm-hmm.
There are going to be a lot of issues with claims getting denied. So a lot of good brokers either have partners with navigation services or have in-house advocates, I'll call them, that will negotiate claims on the behalf of clients so that all this noise doesn't happen for the employees, but then also for the HR teams that have to manage these benefits.
Yeah. It's ADP. That's one of the things I like is that our Ben admin function, at least for the people I work with, talk to, and what I look at is really strong. And what that allows the employers is to be able to manage a lot of this minutia easily with the brokers and then even further downstream while also getting data to brokers so the brokers understand how the plans are being utilized, what the impact is so that they can make better decisions for the client.
Yeah.
So I love those kind of relationships where everything works together. And I think benefits is one of those unique spaces where it's either that or it's not. It's you're getting your lower pricing and that's it. Or you can really go down and film these ecosystems to where you're going down and really looking at, all of your costs in a really, really tight area. So on that, one of the things I hear a lot about is, when you give benefits as an employee, it's all right, where do I go to the doctor? Do I go to urgent care? Do I go to I've got this problem. Do I see a specialist? Do I go to emergency room? There's a lot of options of where to get care now. But what I'm also hearing is a lot of companies going, hey, when they do X kind of care, it costs us a lot more.
Yeah.
So now, and they're probably doing this a long time, but companies are really starting to look at how do we get the most out of our care while saving the most money for the organization that helps everyone. What are some of the things companies can do to try to either ask their brokers or work through their partners with to drive down costs of care while not perjuring their commitment to providing great benefits?
Yeah, that's a great question, man. I think that one of the biggest hurdles I had to get over in understanding different opportunities for care in the space is that high price doesn't always necessarily equal high quality. So, to give you an example, if you were going to get an MRI and your doctor refers you to a hospital system, it might be $5,000. If you go to an independent imaging center down the street, it might be $1,000. So there's a lot of this navigation work that brokers and employers can do to guide their employees to lower cost but still high quality solutions. So that we're not always just taking the advice of, hey, I popped into the emergency room instead of calling my doctor. They sent me for an MRI in the same hospital. Now I got to get surgery in the same hospital.
Right.
And when we shop and ask for cash prices and are directed to lower cost centers of care, we're better consumers of healthcare, not only for ourselves as individuals, but also for our company's health plans. So that's an easy place to start, is in navigation.
Yeah.
And then another quick opportunity is identifying your highest cost claimants. Most of them are probably prescription drug related.
Right.
And there are tons of solutions out there today that will allow you to source expensive drugs internationally, or just to use transparent pharmacy benefit managers that charge less money for this.
Interesting. So there's limitless stuff you can get into here.
There really is.
And as a employee, I was always like, just go to the doctor. Just go here.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even my benefits information I got from companies. It was just driving around town going, oh, there's an imaging center. Oh, there's a specialized cardio place. Oh, there's a dialysis place. Like, there's 47 urgent cares now around me. Like, and it just dawned on me that care has completely changed in the last 10, 20 years. And I feel like just employees don't know what to do and where to go. Like, until the last 2 years, I was like, I'm only going to hospitals.
Yeah.
Like, so how do you get employees? Like, I know dashboards are getting better. I see push notifications on email, and I see, lunch and learns, but like, how do you get this broader? It didn't move the needle for me until I just kind of like had an aha. What are some of the things you can do, brokers can do, companies can ask for, companies can do to get this information out that's going to benefit not just the company, but the employee?
Yeah. It all starts with engagement, man. I think me and you always end up talking about engagement.
Yeah, it's the best. The key. It's the driver of everything.
It's the best. It is the driver of everything. But beyond engagement, it's driving employees to one place where they can get the answer. Because if you know you need to go to the doctor, but you don't know who to ask a question to, or you can go into your ADP portal or your Employee Navigator portal or Workday or whatever and see your benefits, you're probably not going to do that. You're probably going to call your best friend and be like, yo, I need to go see a therapist. Do you see a therapist? Can you give me their name?
Yeah.
But when you give employees a central point, like with a navigation solution, so it could be an app like Medify, Alight, HealthJoy. There are tons of these apps, right? That's the single entry point for an employee. It could be, like in my situation, instead of using traditional insurance, I have a direct primary care physician. So she coordinates all my care. But when I need something, I just text her. And so she handles it, right? So having that kind of central point to make it easy for an employee to say, when I have something going on, I go here. Wherever here is, it's just got to be a place where they can actually get their questions answered. And if it's a navigation service, it's likely tied to, oh, this person asked me about an MRI. We're not going to guide them to the hospital. We're going to guide them to this independent imaging center. Or we're going to guide them to this independent surgical center where we have pre-negotiated pricing.
I've been using telehealth lately. ADP, it's free. If I just go through my insurance, I got a bill. It's like $75. I was like, I was on a Zoom with this PA for 7 minutes. How am I paying $75? But now I found I can go through ADP, just straight portal, and they kind of quarterback everything, and it's super quick and easy, and it costs me nothing. It's fantastic. It's changed everything for me, just having this always start there kind of mentality.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're like, just go to your provider, call your regular doctor. Sometimes it's go check this, or we can prescribe that even for a lot of minors. So I think that simplification for employees is the key.
Yeah, just make it easy, because some people, it will incentivize employees to use lower cost, higher quality areas of care. But if it's not easy for an employee to get there and figure out where to go, they're not going to do that.
It's not just new employees, old employees. I call it the parking ticket lesson. My first job out of college, I worked front office at a big convention hotel downtown DC. And when you parked your car, there was no less than 20 signs telling you to take your ticket and bring it to the front desk to get validated. And like 15% of the people did that. And then they'd yell at me and get mad that they had to get out of their car and go get their ticket. And it was like, it dawned on me at like 21 years old, you have to really beat people over the head. You have to give it to them. You can have dashboards and send me my emails. It's not going to drive action. What are some of the things you've seen that drive the most action, that allow more people to catch on to this benefits conversation we're having for their benefit?
Yeah, I think that the rise in like the single place to go, like the one app to rule them all conversation, I think that's helpful when employees use it. But it all comes down to me is like meeting employees where they want to be met. And I've been saying this for years, because the industry says meet employees where they are. And that's not enough, because everyone likes to communicate differently. So your engagement campaigns, which need to be year-long, by the way, have to be omni-channel. Because you're going to have people that will read their emails. You'll have people that'll read texts. You're going to have people that are going to want to have a phone call with somebody on the HR team or on the navigation team, whatever it may be. You're going to have people that are at the urinal taking a little nature break, and they see a flyer above the urinal, and that's how it hits them. But you have to meet people in where they want to be met, in the way they want to consume information, or you're just screaming into the void.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's it brings me back to like a sales. We're both in the sales space. I know I just said it. Oh my gosh, no one's gonna listen now. Oh, sales guys, we suck. No, it's the same kind of thing as like, you have to diagnose their pain and then fix their pain. And it's like, most people don't even know they have pain. You have to go and find out where they are and understand where they are and find the pain together. Because I mean, like, there's, I'm a guy, like, I'm like, I'll go through like 4 days and be like, oh right, yeah, my ankle's been hurting for 4 days. I never stopped to think about like, should I ice it? Like, like, I think if brokerages, HR teams, companies have that mentality and focus to not just put it out, but to really get it in front of them and not assume that they're going to read it, or that this is enough to truly be omni-channel, to make sure that you're saying it 450 times in 500 places. So you'll catch 3 people here, 20 people here, 15 people there, and that all builds up.
It does.
This is good stuff. What are employees asking for now that they weren't asking for before? Is that changing? Is it just the same old, like?
No, it's changing. It's changing. From a benefits perspective, I mean, a lot of people are asking for flexibility, like truly just in their work location and in their ability to take time off for a variety of different things. When it comes to true benefits, we've seen a rise over the last year in menopause benefits really significantly. And that affects a huge portion of our workforce.
Yeah.
Those have been very interesting. The mental health conversation died down for a little bit, but it's kind of come back in full force, in my view. And I was talking to a benefits manager at a pretty large company yesterday, about 2,000 employees. And she was sharing with me that mental health is their top spend. Wow. Not prescription drug, not surgeries, it's mental health. So that's an interesting one. And then probably the other one is just, it's not new. it's flexibility. Employees want to feel like they can build their own benefit plans to a degree.
Right.
And that's been happening for years, but I feel like we're starting to reach an inflection point, and that's what I credit to the rise of ICRA.
ICRA? I haven't heard that one.
Yeah, so they're individual health reimbursement accounts. So they're solutions for employers to kind of get out of the risk management game. So think your employer offers you a $400 a month stipend via your individual HRA, your ICRA, and you go and you purchase coverage on the open market using that.
Oh, interesting. So it's just more empowerment, more flexibility. I want to go back, and I think this is kind of a perfect place to bookend and go back out. It's just kind of humanizing all these topics and things we're talking about. But, that mental health piece, we've talked about that, and you talk about it often, and I talk about it a lot less, but I think about it probably as much. I kind of stopped podcasting like three weeks ago. I just I got busy. I wasn't depressed. I didn't have something, but I just felt like super overwhelmed with just work and kids and school and, and having a podcast and marketing. And like it just beat me down, and I didn't even realize it. I just got up one day and just stopped doing everything that wasn't critical to me, and that's part of the mental health conversation. I burn out, exhaustion, and it's not something I like talking about. But when I do talk about it, it's like, oh, wait a second, it's okay, it's normal. People are burnt out. People go through these kind of things. And once I realized that, it was like, all right, I shot out 4 emails, one of which to you, all right, let's record this up. Let's get back. Let's do this thing again. Man, I don't even know what happened. But boom, I was out for 3 weeks. There has to be ways to support that. What are some of when you're going through your ups and downs or pressure, what are some of the ways you kind of push back on that and get yourself back on track?
Yeah, so I always try to lean back on my habits. So and discipline, and it can be really hard. I don't have any problem sharing with everybody that's listening to this right now that I'm in a depressive episode right now. I didn't go to the gym at all this week because I can't get out of bed in the morning.
Yeah. Sorry.
Things that make me show up as my best self, regardless of what's going on up here, is getting 8 hours of sleep every night.
Yeah.
Eating pretty clean and going to the gym every day. And they're typically non-negotiable for me. And when I'm doing those 3 things, even the worst panic attack that hits me, it won't shake me for long.
Yeah. Yeah. It's my greatest therapist is going out and running or going to the gym. And then when I feel bad, that's the first thing that goes out. And then it's this flywheel of I didn't work out for a bunch, but I started working out again and I feel great. Going to bed at 9:30 instead of 11:30. I feel great. It's crazy.
It is crazy, but it is funny. I'm the same way. When I get depressed, the first thing I drop is my workout, and then I sleep late, and then I'm like, oh, I don't want to cook. I'm gonna get a pizza. Yeah. And then I stay up too late doing some dumb shit to get dopamine, and then it's just this horrible cycle. And luckily I have a great support network and a great therapist to help keep me honest about that stuff. But it's tough, man. I think everybody experiences those cycles, at least to a degree.
Yeah, and I think it's important to talk about it. Part of the reason I'm bringing this up is not to talk about me, but I think a lot of people are feeling burnt out. And then they're like you and I that like getting things done, take a lot of pride in kicking butt and moving the bar forward and helping other people. And then, when we feel like we need help, we go backwards. And I think it's pretty common. And I think seeing you talk about it, seeing you be a human about it really helped me 2 years ago. And I'm getting better at it. So I wanted to kind of open up on the show here and just kind of get back to it and just say, man, I was down for a bit. And just saying that to somebody. And then also realize I can get right back on my horse and kind of change it and get back. And anyone listening, there's telehealth, we have Optum, there's lots of places to go and get therapy, talk to people. I think it has lightened up finding therapists a little bit than it was coming out of COVID. I guess what I'm saying is be real, people. Be real to yourself. Give yourself some grace when you fall off. Because I beat myself up. Crap, I'm not podcasting. I got listeners. I'm supposed to build a brand. Dude, it's okay. Get back. Make the call. record another podcast, and move on with your life, dude.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Sims, closing, tie a bow on this. Benefits, good, bad, ugly. Give me the top 3 takeaways. Anybody just sticking their toe in the water or talking it like, I might switch benefits. What are the things they should be thinking about? And then I got one more question for you, and we're out of here.
Yeah. So I'd be thinking about, like, if you're looking for new benefits, talk to different brokers, explore different funding options, see what might work for you and work for your people and for your culture, because we're not limited to just working with 4 insurance carriers on a fully insured basis. Level fund, you can self-fund, you can self-fund by yourself, you can do an ICRA. There's no limit to the options that you have. Know that higher price does not mean higher quality. It has been disproven time and time again in this business. And the last one is mental health is health. I think it's important that we talk about that. And that anybody listening that feels like they need help, even if it's something as simple as calling one of your friends and telling them how you're feeling, do that. It'll make you feel better.
I love it. 100%. You're the kind of guy that lives it, man. In this conversation, I was just kind of having a normal Thursday. Had a super productive week. Now I'm ready to get off this thing, go kick some butt. So just get out and talk to people, man. Find out what it is for you. This podcast gets me pumped up every time. So appreciate you joining, helping get me pumped up.
Thanks, brother. Always a delight to be a guest.
Where can people find you, Sims?
You can always find me on LinkedIn.
Best Hub. You got your gear store open? You can open that thing up again or what? I feel like I missed the window last time, and I need a hat.
I'm liking doing these kind of like shock drops.
Well, just at least do a shock drop. All right? I need a new cap here.
You need a new lid?
Cool. Well, Sims, this has been awesome. Keep fighting the good fight, man. If I can ever help you off, Mike, let me know, man. You're always helping me. Love following you. I got your back, whatever you do, and appreciate you spending some time and educating us in the broker space.
Thank you, brother. Take it easy.
All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Been an awesome podcast. Really kept this as an open book today. So I hope you enjoyed. And I think it's a perfect transition into our outro song, Better by Break Signals. Take us away. See you next time.